Instagram Live. Tuesday, 1:15. We're here. We got Dr. Claggett,
Dr. Price,
Amanda, Angela.
They're the A&A twins, right? The A-Team. Oh, look at that. All right, I'm Dr. Kosha. That's. Do you remember the A-Team?
No.
They have no idea. Yeah, they know what it is. So,
I vaguely remember Mr. T.
So today is going to be one of those topics that I'm sure some people are going to go, what? Do it. Go what? What? There, you did it. How about that? So here in a nutshell, I'm going to explain how chiropractic works, as I do before every video. You live your life through your nerve system. Every human experience you have is through your nerve system. If the experience is less than optimal, get your nerve system checked. Now, I'm going to ask our students over here, what is the first symptom developed in the developing body? Child, infant, fetus. What's the first system?
The nervous system.
So the nerve system. If the nerve system is the first one, it's probably the most important, right? So obviously we live our life through our nerve system. We're bombarded with stressors outside there in the world. You get traumatism, which is physical things. You get autosuggestion, the mental. You get the bad stuff that you eat, drink, or smell, except your one latte a day is fair, right? One a day. Sometimes two.
Got to challenge an 8.
So, got to chest an 8. Who said that? What was that guy's name? I'm challenging an 8. What was that guy's name?
Rats in a dump or something?
What was that guy's name? Who was it?
Fred Barge.
Which would be Grandpa.
Grandpa.
One of my all-time heroes. So anyway, but when we test an 8, we challenge an 8. Sometimes an 8 is overloaded. The body can't handle it when that happens. The body doesn't adapt. We have the inability to adapt, and along that way, then with the body's inability, we call that subluxation. When the body doesn't adapt, sometimes you may get this thing called symptoms, right?
Crazy.
So as chiropractors, what we do is we have technology in our office that will measure your nerve system. So you don't have to have symptoms. We can measure how your nerve system is working, and through that we can see if there's evidence of subluxation or the body's inability to adapt. So if you haven't been checked on the inside meridian subluxation station, ask one of us. Actually, probably ask these right here, because I still sometimes have an issue making things work, but I can read them.
James says hello.
And so, hello. And we also have some other technology in the office. We've got another, it's called the NeuroInfinity, that measures how well your body adapts and measures the two components, or the, let's say, components, functions of the nerve system, speed you up, slow you down. So, and the nerve system's in everybody. It's an adult, my age, these kids' age, your kids' age,
Yep.
my daughter's age. It's there, for, like she said, from the minute when you start to develop. But what happens is, for some reason, and I struggle with this, is the insane amount of prescription drug use in today's children. And I'm probably going to use what you use, but I want you to elaborate on when I'm done, okay? Because we're kind of on the same page here. My disclaimer is this. I'm not saying don't give your children drugs. I'm not saying that. So please don't go out and say, oh, that wacky chiropractor said don't put your kid on drugs. What I'm saying is there's another choice. Instead of putting prescription drugs into your children, when they have a crisis situation, before I would do that, I would look at possibly doing something else. Don't you agree? So I'm going to ask you, Angela, how many, we didn't rehearse this, it just popped in my head. How much, let's say when they put a child on Ritalin or a painkiller, how much research do you suppose has been done to check the safety and the efficacy of that drug on children? I'm going to give you a number between 0 and 0.
0.
Isn't that crazy? So we're going to dump a bunch of dope prescription drugs into kids that's never been tested. And they'll say, well, we need randomized clinical trials or we need studies, because we even have people in our profession that say that we need studies.
Yep.
So here's my question. How many studies are there done on kids and how safe the dope is? How much is there?
0.
Nada. But here's what happens. The minute a drug hits the market and it's been approved and it's safe for adults, what can they do then?
Prescribe it to
They
kids.
can give it to kids without any research whatsoever. So when they give the dope, the drugs to your children, guess where the research occurs?
In adults.
Right, no, right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, we're giving it to the kids. They survived. Must be good.
Yep.
But they don't really know the long-term residuals of that drug, which I think is insane.
Yeah,
so the
they start
testing is
hearing-
right.
They start hearing the reports back of what's happening to the kids, and then like, oh, we better watch.
Better reduce it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They'll reduce the or not the amount that they give them.
Well, they're playing with it because they don't even know. Like when they give a child a amount, you know, whatever they want to call it, the amount, whatever they want to call it,
Dosage.
the dosage. How do they come up with that dosage? They give them the adult dosage. Or they wing it, or we prefer as a swag. You know what a swag is? Oh, now that you moved that, it's going to be goofy.
It started goofy. I'm trying to figure out why.
Okay, so, but anyway, so what's going to happen is the minute they do that is they're swagging it with those children, which I think is insane. So anyway, so here's what happens. When a child is given drugs, let's say we're going to use little Matt. So little Matty here, little Matty, you're a little boy, you're 5 years old. So we'll do this together because I think we're going to do the same thing, aren't we?
All right, we'll see.
We'll see. So little Matty has a crisis situation. What do you have? You have an earache or do you have a stomach ache? Which one do you have? Or stomach ache? You want tummy ache?
Sure.
You got a little tummy ache. So give me a little tummy ache look. He's got a little tummy ache. Little Matty's got a little tummy ache look. So here's what happens. Now he has a crisis situation. So when you have a crisis situation, the parent being good parents, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when he has a crisis situation, what do?
Figure out, well, give him the drug.
We give him a drug. He takes a pill. And the crisis does what? Goes away, makes him feel better. Who's little Matty's peers when he's 5 years old?
His parents.
Mom and Dad. So now little Matty is trying to make the football team. He's 17 years old, and he gets cut from the football team. And the head cheerleader, Mary, breaks up with him.
Yeah.
So now he's feeling down in the dumps. Let me see you down in the dumps. Got a crisis situation going on. He's a little bummed, or a lot bummed. Who's his peers now when he's 17 years old? Is it still Mom and Dad?
Nope.
Who's his peers?
Friends.
What's that?
Classmates.
His buddies, his classmates, who aren't on the football team, right? And what do they say? Oh, dude, you're down on the dumps. Hey, smoke this, shoot this, drink that. Crisis situation. Now, I'm not saying you're doing a bad thing as a parent, but I think before I would, and we did this with Blake, before we dump the dope in her, let's address the cause of the crisis situation, because look what we're doing. Is we're creating a conditioned response when we have a crisis situation. You've got something going on, let's take this, drink this, smoke that. Not smoke it, but drink this, take that pill. When he's 17 years old, crisis situation, drink this, smoke that, ingest that, to help you with the crisis situation. Good or bad? Say it louder.
Bad.
So, was that in line with yours?
Yeah.
Okay, so
pretty
you
much.
go.
I was going to say children learn by example. So if a parent starts giving them medication for every little problem or ache that they have as a child, they grow up and that's their solution. They don't know anything any differently.
A pill to sleep, a pill to wake, a pill for every bellyache.
Ooh, do that again. Who said that?
Dr. Barch.
Interesting. I remember reading that once. Do that again. That was pretty good. But say it like Grandpa.
Oh, no.
Hey, did your guys' mom watch these?
Yeah.
This year, say hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Do it again. That was good. But say it that way, because that was really
All right.
good.
A pill to sleep, a pill to wake, a pill for every belly ache. There's an alternative, guys. Chiropractic.
Because you live your life through your nerve system. That was really good.
Oh, very good.
So, he's got the numbers, guys. So,
Okay. I got a couple fun stats. I looked at the top 30 most common prescribed drugs for kids.
which are research for kids, right? You weren't here for that. Were they research for kids?
I actually heard you because I had it all in my room,
Okay.
which are not researched. So, of the 30, half of them are antibiotics or steroids. So
For kids?
For kids.
Wow.
Kids only. 4 out of the top 30 are pain relievers, and then 3 out of the top 30 are for ADHD, which we covered the past couple weeks. So these guys are taking drugs for every little thing, and occasionally they are needed, which we're saying not.
Well, I'm not going to say not to give your cut drugs. And once
But-
again, please understand, we're not saying you're doing a bad part. You're doing what's right because you're protecting your child.
Exactly.
I think what we're saying is, let's look into something else possibly. Maybe there's another solution instead of just constantly, because you've got stuff about the increase in prescription drugs, right? Okay. So.
You're turning kids into like hypochondriacs, thinking there's something wrong with them all the time. Like, go get checked and that's
You know what's funny about that? When Blake was in high school, she had a couple friends that for every little thing they were taking a pill, and I was like, good Lord. I mean, there is a solution.
I'm sure Dr. Mike will touch on this, but in 2014, there were 3.2 billion prescriptions written.
Copying you. Keep going.
Well,
I
the
didn't have
next
that. That's okay.
the next stats were kind of interesting. So, in 2014, that the percentage of people taking at least one prescription drug was 49%. The percentage of people taking at least 3 was 23%. And percentage of people taking 5 or more was 12%.
I wonder how many of those are kids.
And that's exactly right. Like, I mean, this is
He's got some
We'll get
interesting.
into that.
He's got some stuff on that, which is pretty good.
This is from the CDC. This is not like some random thing that we found. This is from the actual CDC that people are taking.
Wait a minute, it's not for some whack job website.
No,
Weird.
this is the CDC where they're all official.
Official.
Do that again.
Official.
He's going through. He's just trying to make a football team. Did you hear his voice change?
Yeah.
I didn't make it.
Okay, before Science Guy, Bill Nye the Science Guy. What do you got?
We're not anti-drug or anti-vaccine. We're pro-informed consent. And so you need to be fully
I like
informed.
that. There we
Yeah.
go.
Do that again. We're what?
We're not anti-drug or anti-vaccine. We're pro-informed consent. And as a parent, you can't make that decision to be
That's pretty
fully informed until you see all signs of the issue, until you know what the research says. So,
That's good. That's really good.
Very good. She's got some stats. We'll have her go through.
This would be Angela.
Angela.
All right, I have some stats that are on kids and teens. And just an important fact to remember, prescription drug abuse is still drug abuse. There's more than 1,600 teens that begin abusing prescription drugs each day.
How much?
Every single day.
1,600 a day?
A day.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Can you guess? Let's hear what do you think some of the most common prescription drugs are?
Oxycodone. Painkillers.
Yep, pain medication. Sleeping pills, anti-anxiety medications.
1,600 a day.
Yep.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, think
You
about
know,
it.
think
We were
of
just
what,
talking
we're
about.
talking about building business by big pharma. I mean,
But they're
it's
doing it in the kids because their buddies, instead of going and using illegal drugs because they think they'll get in trouble for those. Well, hey, this is a prescription drug. I won't get in trouble for doing this.
You know, though, I remember reading, and this is interesting. I remember reading an article a few years ago about kids were surveyed like when they were teens, and they felt I'm going to find this. We're going to get this posted. Kids felt since it was a prescription drug that it was okay,
Mhm.
and it wasn't harmful to take it because it was prescribed
Even if it was
by the
their
white
own,
coat. Yes,
it's a prescription drug which is not illegal.
because the white coat said it was okay.
Yep.
I have to
That's
find
the
that.
mindset
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, which, if it was okay, why is it just, well, it is on the shelf, some of them are, so I forget that comment. So, got more?
One more. 12 to 17-year-olds abuse prescription drugs more than ecstasy, heroin, crack cocaine, and methamphetamines combined.
It's so easy to get, it's just at home. Majority of the
Oh, it's in the
time.
cabinet, yeah, it's in the
That's
food.
Yeah.
access.
Interesting. You know what's funny about that, and I think about the house we live in, and we didn't build, we bought it, but, and until driving in it, I was talking to Sean the other day, but I was driving, I was thinking about it today, we don't have a cabinet in any of our bathrooms, which is weird, because, what's that?
Oh, you don't have a medicine cabinet?
No, which is funny because we bought this house, 11 years ago, so it was a used home, I guess. There's not one in there,
I don't know what either.
which is, isn't that weird?
either.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So,
We have one, I
all right,
One.
Okay, so we got two numbers on this board. These numbers were as of 2009. So you and I were talking, the four of us were talking about this. I was Googling every way I could think of. We were even
I did
came up with
too.
some more, trying to see the stats on how prescription drug use in kids has gone up.
now listen to this. This is interesting. He Googled for a while,
Mhm.
then I Googled for a while for this. It's really important because Google has the answer for everything, right?
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, this may blow you away, ladies. You'd be amazed at some of the stuff I Google. Just to see. And I'm going to tell you, this is important. I even Googled years ago to see how long a chicken could survive with its head cut off. I really did. And it's called Mike the Headless Chicken. Go check it out. But you can actually Google and it'll tell you anything.
Anything. Like,
So we spent time Googling.
I
and
never have a problem finding
Ever.
any numbers, any research I want to find. You just basically type in a jumble of words and it'll pull up.
Just say weird now. Go ahead.
Weird.
Very weird, because I could not find anything that showed basically by the decade or by every 5-year increments increases in children's use of prescription drugs.
Repeat that.
I could not find anywhere where it showed incremental increases or that basically, say 1990, 2000, 2010, what the usage, like the number of children or the percentage of children. Now you could find some random studies that would have like 1 year's rates.
Yeah, we found one.
One, but you could not find anywhere, like adults, CDC website, and
Everything.
World,
Yeah.
WHO, everything had it all.
Well, we did that. What's it? Because when you took it there, it'll take you to, well, this is what adult usage had.
But you could not
it find kids. I wonder why that is. Let's just do it again. Weird. Show me the money.
So, the numbers here. So 25%. That is, this was as of 2009. Again, this is the latest numbers I could find where it had some actual good percentages of things. So we know these numbers are higher as of now, based on even what that told me in there. More than a quarter of kids and teens are taking at least one drug daily on a chronic basis. So this isn't like...
How can a child have a chronic condition?
Great
I mean,
question.
Exactly.
Old people like me, yeah, I said it, can have a chronic condition.
Yeah, like this isn't like, they did their 10-day antibiotic,
Now it's chronic.
or anything. This is, they actually take these drugs every single day for some kind of issue going on.
Wow.
Now, 2 or more drugs in children, 7% of kids are on 2
How
or
many?
more drugs. 7%.
7%, 2 or more.
So we think about that, like, oh, it's only 7%, but that's 7 out of every 10 kids, or excuse me, every 100 kids. So think about a school of, say, 1,000 kids. That's 50 kids that are on 2 or more drugs in one school.
Wow.
That's
a day.
crazy.
A day. Each day they're taking these.
And think about it, for every drug, how many adverse events are there? Which eventually they're going to have to take a drug or more for that adverse event.
Yep.
Wow, let's just build the business now, baby.
So as of 2009, that increase in use by children was 4 times higher than overall population increase of drug use. So when we looked at the World Health Organization, they had all their stats of every decade of the prescription drug use in adults. Then if we think about that, the children's increase was 4 times that of the adults. Which makes you wonder, is that maybe why we don't see those numbers anywhere easily?
What did I get with it? The children's increase was 4 times
So
greater.
for the overall increase every year, every decade, each time, the children's drug use is going up 4 times that amount. So they've
So when
created
they-
a whole new section of
Customers, yeah.
to be able to use this.
So when are they going to stop reporting on the adults? Because those kids that are growing up are then going to continue that path throughout the rest of their life.
Well, yeah, then they're just going to be added right into it, and then that spark's going to come up.
Customer-related business. And
So,
wow.
what was interesting was what they were noting in these kids, and this is back in 2009, so this is 8 years ago already, and this data was from before that. So, diabetes, heart disease, and depression were the key conditions that were increasing so much of that number.
In kids?
In kids. Wow.
They said they're seeing these lifestyle diseases in
I
these
love,
kids.
keyword, what is it? Lifestyle diseases.
In younger and younger
You live your
kids.
life through your nerve system.
Yep.
It's a lifestyle disease.
Now another
Build more
interesting
customers.
thing on this,
Yep.
and this is where this data is going to come from, but these numbers, and it was very specific in there, was on insured kids.
Oh, that's funny.
Basically, they
Wow.
had insurance. This isn't counting kids that didn't have insurance. This is just insured. So these are probably numbers coming from insurance companies.
I'd be curious of how many who are insured get the dope.
Now they did say that the numbers of uninsured were lower. They didn't say what the numbers were.
Well, that's weird.
But they said they'd be lower, and it's like, well, no.
That's weird. Let's just do that again. That's weird.
Yes.
Show me the money.
So another number that we found in 2013, there was 19.8 million users of prescription drugs in kids 12 and older. That was about 7.5% of the child population.
Let's build customers.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So that's our numbers for today.
Anything to close? As we go around about, we went a little longer. This is a good one. Ladies, be a better role model.
Choose an alternative route to medicine. And that's all there is, I guess.
Be informed, what he said.
No, he's going to close with that. So, and I'll say this: we're not saying don't give your children drugs or vaccines. We're saying there is an alternative. You live your life through your nerve system. You read the numbers. You heard those numbers. You heard his numbers. If the drugs were curing, like ham and tobacco, the problem. If they were the solution, would our kids be healthier? And they're not.
You think so?
Yeah, they're not. It really comes down to building customers and new business. And I look at the adverse events of what's going into that dope that you're putting into the body. My advice, get your nervous system checked. Right? I'd go there first. You know, I believe, isn't it the part of the model of a healthcare provider, least invasive to most invasive? By putting a toxic agent into the body, I think that's pretty invasive. There is an alternative. So
There's one more thing. There's an interesting quote, and I'll find it and I'll post it down below in the comments. But it was the founder of Merck, and his desire for the company.
I know where it's at too. It's in Gwen Olson's book.
Okay.
Yeah.
His desire.
Who, by the way, is a cool cat.
For Merck was to be like Wrigley, the gum company, and have a drug for every person.
He also wanted the drugs to be on the shelf just like gum. So when a child would leave, he really said this. That didn't say it. This gentleman actually really said that he wanted them on all the shelves so when you walked out of a store, the kid could see the dope. It's in Gwen Olson's book.
We'll find it.
Yeah, it's in like in the first 15 pages, isn't it? Yeah. So anyway, yeah, good one. I thought yours is the best. What is it? What'd you say?
We're not anti-drugs or anti-vaccines. We're pro-informed consent. So stay informed, stay tuned.
See you next week.